Hello everyone, my name is Catrice Otengo and I'm making this video because I actually did not realize that when the News and Observer had placed my video on YouTube that it had gotten so many views and so many responses. And so when I found that there were so many responses, I decided to respond. And on top of seeing those responses, I got some really nasty comments or whatever. And, I just want to make it clear that number one, I was never in a position where I was not doing what I was supposed to as a tenant. For those of you who were accurately following the news and reading the newspaper about what had actually happened, I had had two surgeries that had put me out on medical leave. And so, in waiting for short term disability to kick in, I was always late paying my rent because my short term disability, they had to wait for doctors and so on and so forth. And so my last surgery was in February of 2020, which, as any of you know, that's when the coronavirus was just now hitting, and nobody knew that it was going to be as severe as it is now. I'm in the medical field, so the expectation was there, and so I really wasn't shocked when it rose to the numbers that it did over the recent months and continuing on. But nevertheless, that's not why I'm here. So, I gotten some really nasty comments about, well, we could tell she not missing a meal and so on and so forth. And let me just make it clear. First of all, my weight had nothing to do with my situation. People have medical problems. And so I'm here to make this video for one thing, because where do you see that weight at now? It's gone. That was hence my surgery that I had in February, because I had multiple medical problems. And so not only was I battling financially, but I was battling health wise. And so I had many obstacles facing me. And so anyway, so while waiting on, short-term disability, coronavirus hit. And then when I returned to work, I got furloughed. When I got furloughed, I applied for unemployment, got the one check. And, I'm still waiting and waiting and waiting for the next check. And so after I saw that I wasn't getting any, and then I was getting constantly harassed by my landlady, never mind the fact that I was constantly updating her and letting her know, hey, this is what's going on. Like, I was repeatedly letting her know. And so, when I didn't have information, I said nothing, because why am I going to come to you and talk to you about something I don't even know what's going on? So I did not say anything if I had no information. But anytime I would get information, I would let her know what that information was. So, nevertheless, when it came down to the end of it in July, I had saved quite a bit of money on top of paying, money towards my rent. So, by the time the middle of July came, we had gone, they had taken me to court, and she had told the court, she was like, well, hey, she's a great tenant and we would like to keep her, if she can pay everything she owes. Now, here's the thing. So, I mean, because I want you to know exactly what was going on, because I don't want there to be any speculation of what was going on. So I had gotten behind, even though I was paying. You can pay money but still get behind. So I'm paying on it, and the last payment I gave her was $1,000. But by the time we got to court, it was still a couple of months behind, even though I paid the $1,000. Because mind you, two medical leaves, then a furlough, and so I'm fighting for short-term disability and unemployment all at the same time. So by the time we get to court, I had $1,500. Okay, so now, with the type of law that was set in place when coronavirus hit, they were making people exempt for 2 months of rent. So by the time we got to court, I only owed 2 months of rent. So when we got to court, she gave the statement to the judge. The judge looked at the invoice and she said, well, according to this, she only owes $1,700. And the landlady was like, well, no, she owes like 3,000, and she was like, ma'am, she's not she's under the CARES Act according to you, so she's exempt from June and July rent. And so therefore that made me only responsible for 1,700 and some change or whatever. I had $1,500 that day. And I, after court, I called repeatedly for days in, and I'm like, hey, will y'all accept this $1,500? And, then on my next payday, I give you the balance. That way I can keep my apartment and then y'all will be caught up with your rent. She was kind of shocked that they only awarded them the 1,700 some dollars, because essentially what happened when we went to court, she told the court when they got there that they were not a CARES Act property. And the judge at that time said, if you're not a CARES Act property, we're not going to hear your case today. And she was like, oh, wait a minute. Corporate just called me and said, we are a CARES Act property. I forgot all about the phone call. This is what she said in court. This is on court documents. You don't have to believe me. Pull up a court document. And so she was like, okay, well, we need you to update this paper, signed and dated, saying that you are a CARES Act property. She did not know by doing that, by saying, oh, we're a CARES Act property, so they could hear the case that day, that they were going to exempt me from June and July rent. Of course, making me still liable to pay the rest of what I did owe. So that was no problem. I had the money. So, okay. So once they were only awarded the 1,700, she went totally silent. She would not return my calls. She would not answer anything. No emails, no nothing. And I'm wondering, okay, well, what's going on? Because I need to know what I'm doing, because, like, I'm in the middle of losing my place. So, all in all, long story short, she finally ended up returning my call and leaving a message on my voicemail saying, sorry it took me so long to get back to you, but we've decided not to go forward and not to accept your $1,500. We're going to appeal the court case because the judge made a great mistake in awarding us only $1,700. And so we're taking you to a higher court and we're going to get the $3,000 that we're owed. That is what she said. Have the voicemail to prove that. So, nevertheless, they said, so we're going to just request repossession of our property. And, sorry, but you got to be out by July the 19th. So I'm like, okay, like literally that left me like a week to get all of my stuff out. And I have a lot of stuff. Let me just tell you that. So nevertheless, packed up all of my stuff, called my family, and mind you, my family lives in Virginia. Called my family, hey, I need y'all to come down here and move my stuff before these people come and take my stuff out of here. They came, moved my stuff into storage, left me with no place to go. So, stayed in hotels. Hotel, where I'm at today, because this is now end of January. This is the last day of January, as a matter of fact. And so from July to about maybe, I think, early December, back and forth to hotels. That's all I was doing. I had no place to go. My daughter, she lives in Greensboro, but I couldn't stay with her because she had 3 other people staying with her. So I had no choice but go back and forth to hotels and stay there. So finally I ended up finding a place in Durham with some roommates, but that ended up not working out because I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work and they like to party all day, every day. So I had to move out. So hence, back to Greensboro, staying at my daughter's, back and forth to hotels, whatever, because I don't want to, burden my daughter, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's easy for somebody to judge when they don't know what's going on. It's easy for somebody to say what I should or shouldn't have done. But when you're not in my shoes, you don't really know. You know what I mean? It's not been easy to be in this predicament because when I have to go from Greensboro to Durham to Raleigh, job to job, trying to find the right place, the right city, the right job, the right this, the right that. So, nevertheless, the let me see, this is January. In November, early December of last year, my daughter sold her house, the house that I was staying in with them. And the buyers wanted us out by January the 22nd. My daughter talked them into letting us stay till the end of January. And so, guess what that left me? Back in the hotel. So, every dime I get goes to pay for my hotel. Um, you know, nobody will rent to me because of what happened to me in, Greensboro. So nobody will rent to me. They pull up, that it's dismissed, but they don't care because, yeah, speaking of dismissed, let's go there. Because what ended up happening when the CDC came up with the moratorium to not evict people, that it was going to now be a thing where if landlords tried to evict people, that they would be fined tremendously for doing so. So, because that moratorium came out after I was put out of my place, the news reached back out to me and said, "Hey, we want to talk to you about this." So, I ended up talking to them about that and telling them how I felt about that because, yeah, I'm stunned because if they had come out with that to begin with, I would have never gotten evicted from my place. I'd still have a place to stay. So, nevertheless, I ended up back on the news, hence the 24,000 views on YouTube and hence everybody's nasty comments and things like that. However, regardless of the nasty comments, I've gotten some really great comments, and I do appreciate all of your support. I appreciate all of your prayers that you have been giving to me because they are truly needed and they are truly appreciated. So, nevertheless, uh, coronavirus is still very much alive out here, affecting every single person, whether you're a homeowner or a renter. And the thing is that I don't approve of anyone who's just in a home with the means to pay their rent and not paying their rent just because they know they can. You know what I mean? I work, and I work hard, and, my money goes to the things that I need, and for me to have to stay in a hotel and use literally every bit of money I have to go to gas to get back and forth to my jobs and to hotel. That's it. That's where my money goes. And food when I need it. You know what I mean? What a way to survive. Like, I have no money to save for down payment or first month's rent when somebody does open up their heart to rent to me. I have no way to do that because it's all literally going to the room. I have to stay somewhere. Fortunately I got a good weekly deal, but it's all going to the weekly deal. So don't be so quick to judge somebody and say, well, you should have did this or you should have did that. No one, and I mean no one, could have seen this coming in any situation. No one could have said in January the coronavirus is going to hit and affect millions of people, whether it be by death or whether it be by evictions. Nobody could have ever. Oh, let's not forget about the business closures. Let's not forget about those people, business owners who were open for many years who had to close their businesses because they lost so much money. Or, well, in the midst of coronavirus is when you had all these, brutalities going on and businesses getting destroyed. You could have never predicted those things happening. So you can, don't judge me. Don't get on YouTube and judge me for trying to live. I was trying to live. I had the means to give them their money, and they refused me over $200. They refused me continuing to be a tenant over $200. Look at that part of the spectrum when you look at me, because I had every dime I owed them minus $200, and they rejected me and told me to leave. Yet I was a good tenant, she said, and I am. I'm a great tenant. Somebody looked at the walkthrough video and said, well, why did she paint her walls if she knew she had to this, that, and the other? First of all, that's a minor thing to concern yourself with because I paint because I like decorating. I'm in a hotel right now, and believe you me, if I could paint this wall behind me, I would because I like color. I like being happy, so I like happy colors. I like bright colors. Hence, I painted the walls. Why? Because I had permission to do so. See, the small things that you worry about, they're minute. They're minute. I have no place to go. Why are you worried about why I painted my walls? You know what I'm saying? When I was in Virginia, which is where I'm from, I lived in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, okay? And in that 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, I painted every single room that was not painted already. I painted my bathrooms, I painted my ministry room, I painted my office, and I painted my bedroom. And it was beautiful. And my landlord said, I just want you to paint it back if you ever move. And guess what we did? We painted it back white when we moved. Why? Because it was the right thing to do. Now, because I was rushed out of my apartment in Greensboro, I did not have the time to do that. So, therefore, it didn't get done. However, had I had the time, had I had the notice, the adequate notice, they would have had white walls. So, they didn't get white walls. So, I don't really know what to tell you about that. So, I just wanted to get on here, mainly for two reasons. To show all the people who called me fat that I'm no longer fat. So you can have all of your little disgraceful comments and keep them to yourself because you don't know what I had to go through to get here. And number two, to tell all those people who don't really know the whole situation to look into the situation before you judge a situation because you don't know. You don't know what I go through on a regular basis. Every day I have to count my money. Every day I have to make sure I have a place to stay. Every day I have to make sure I have gas in my car to get to my jobs because one of my jobs is 40 minutes away. Every single day I have to count. So unless you're in my shoes, don't judge me because you don't know. But let me tell you something, especially for the ones who don't believe in God. I know God got my back. So it really doesn't matter what you think. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm here to do what I can. I'm here to do the best I can. And like I just told somebody, we're going to all get through this and we're going to all get through it together. Like it takes people to come together at a time like this and to say, I'm going to beat this thing. And we have to beat this thing. Why? Because if we don't, we're defeated. We've already claimed defeat. And I don't claim defeat for no one. That, you'll find if you go to my channel and look at my videos, the situation, this situation, it doesn't define who I am. I'm still God's child. I'm still an independent woman and I'm still a strong woman. It doesn't define me. Is it a shock to my system? Heck yeah, it is. Heck yeah, it's a shock to my system because I have never in my life had to go through this. But guess what? There are other people whose this is their first go through anything like this ever. A lot of people's first. So, this is my first time having to think through everything all the time. What am I going to do? Calculating the hours that I work and my pay that I make per hour. And am I going to have enough? And oh my God, what if I miss a day of work? And what if I don't make enough to pay my rent? Oh, and let's not forget about my $174 storage that's due every month. So I've had that since July. So you calculate the cost. It's over $1,000 already. Money that could be going somewhere else. Am I saying this for a pity party? Heck no. I'm just telling you that it costs to be in this position. And every day I'm trying to make the best of it. Every single day I'm trying to make the best of it. So I just wanted to come on here, and give an update because I did not realize that so many people had responded to my post that was put on YouTube by the News and Observer. And I want people to understand that, you don't need to miss the big picture and you don't need to be derogatory and insult people because understand something. One thing I talk about all the time is that you do reap what you sow. You can say what you want about me. You can say how you feel about me when you don't know me, but understand something. The derogatory statements that you make about me, understand you got to reap what you sow. What goes around comes around. You know what I'm saying? At any given moment, you could be put in a situation of not having a home. At any given situation, you could be put in a predicament of being well over 200 pounds overweight and not being able to function properly because you have so many medical problems and having to go through surgeries to correct the problem so that you can be able to function in this world and work to make a living. And because of that surgery that I had, I'm able to function. God has blessed me. So I could care less about your statement. statements for real. So I just wanted to come on here and thank all of the people who stood by me, who's been praying for me, and who continues to pray for me. I need and covet your prayers, and I will continue to pray for you as well. So thank you very much for everything that you've done. I really appreciate it. Share this video and comment about this video. Negative or not, I can take it. Sister got thick skin, so whatever you gotta say, I'm down for it. Bye.